I don't know. I would hope so.
Or it's
I
gonna
think it's
take
a good
until you're in
thing.
the grave for you to be vegan?
Oh, I hope. I would like to be a vegan.
Oh yeah, man. No, no. In your name, how many animals you wanna be tortured and killed in your name specifically? Zero
20,
or more to zero?
22 and a half.
Yeah, but you do hear yourself doing that, and it is.
No, no, no. It's a
You laugh
terrible
because
thing.
you know
It's a
it's
terrible
terrible,
thing.
right?
We're making a joke about it,
It is terrible.
but we.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
I'm glad you're doing
Good
fine,
to be
man.
alive, right?
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing to be here on the beach in San Juan.
Yeah, very wise thing to say. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
very wise thing to say. Yeah, we are alive and we should be grateful for that, right?
We do, we do, we do. It's a wise thing to think about gratitude and how lucky we are to be alive. Um, what's better, it's a way of making ourselves more positive, right? Giving ourselves a little more lightness, a little more brightness in our days, right?
Speaking about life, what do you think about giving universal rights to life to all people? Do you think everyone deserves a right to life, to not be
Everybody,
stabbed to death randomly, like somebody innocent?
everybody in this world who's a human being, who's a Homo sapien, is your cousin, is my cousin, is your cousin. We're all one family. 99.6%, almost 100%, identical.
Yep. Yep.
So everybody's a cousin, number one. Why are we fighting? Because we haven't grown up yet all the way. It takes time. Evolution takes time. Already over 1 billion years to come from the beginning of life to today, to right now.
The beginning of life being
One cell.
like the single cell universal
Underwater.
ancestor.
Well, that's what science says. So I think you have to go with what science
Yeah, the
says.
current theory, the current consensus, right? It could be panspermia or something. It could come from another planet, but the current theory is that it originated in the primitive waters, right? Yeah. But I have a question about the thing you said about. I want to test your logic a little bit. You said that everyone who's a Homo sapiens deserve a right to life. Let's say I'm gonna ask you a hypothetical question. Let's say we found a group of people that look physically identical to us. They spoke like us, thought like us, but we tested their DNA, and beep, 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 it turned out they're not Homo sapiens. Would it then be okay to like not give them a right to life and just holocaust them if we wanted to, or would they still deserve a right to life?
I think we need to try to have information. We need to understand what we're talking about. If someone has different DNA than a Homo sapien, then either they're another race, another species on our world, or as you suggested a moment ago, possibility of being an alien species. When are we going to accept our place in the universe? There are trillions and trillions of stars with trillions and trillions of planets around them in a universe that is more than 90,000 billion light years wide.
And you know a lot of this topic. You're an astronomist or something, then.
I'm interested. I'm like you. I'm interested in these things.
But that question specifically, would those beings, if we came across them in this planet, they were on another
We
island?
should be celebrating. We should be glad for the diversity. Think about the different colors of the skin, or the different religions, or the different cultures. These are the things that embellish mankind and make us so interesting. The multitasking ability that we have. The reason why, technologically speaking, microphones, cameras, hearing aids, is that we have this capability of doing many things at once. I think that we should be celebrating life, just as we should be celebrating all life. I think that we're
But you started with Homo sapien life, but then you expanded the circle of moral consideration.
I agree with
Yeah.
all life like that, even being a vegetarian or not.
Would you consider yourself one, or you eat animals?
I eat animals, but that's my habit. That's my culture. Do I think that that's the greatest thing in the world? I think moderation. I mean, I think that if we were all familiar with what they do in the large agro businesses that grow chickens or pigs or cattle, I think that maybe we would all start to realize that, maybe we need to reevaluate what we're doing, what we're eating. I'm not saying not to do it at all, but maybe just to be more mindful of what we're doing.
So you personally think it is like morally acceptable to buy meat and eat it?
That's a funny word, morally. Um, it's a word that's kind of like perfection. The definition is always going to be changing. What's moral to one person may be completely the opposite to someone else. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I would consider myself an ethical subjectivist, but talking specifically about your own values, so, by morally acceptable, I mean something like you have a positive attitude towards it or something like that. I want to ask you a hypothetical. Let's say for some reason human meat was legal and there was a human sandwich industry where we were like turning humans into sandwiches, like another race of humans. Would you find it okay to give your money to that industry and buy a sandwich and eat it? Or would you say, hell no, I wouldn't give my money to that? What would you personally think about that?
Well, that's a far stretch. It makes me think of the movie Soylent Green, where when a person died, then they process a person into food.
But in this situation, they're not dying naturally. We're holocausting them. We're like putting them into gas chambers and turning them.
I don't like it.
You wouldn't give your money to it. You would say it would be wrong to give your money to that industry?
What did I say a little while ago? Everybody is your cousin, even if it's another species. Even if you're saying it's another species with a DNA that's similar to ours, but different in the fact that they're humanoid and they have body characteristics that are similar to our own.
In this hypothetical, they're actually humans now.
No.
Yeah.
No. How can you be doing that? It's like slavery. Slavery ended in 1865 in the United States. It's not that long ago.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago. We're growing up. Mankind is growing up. It takes time. The evolution of Homo sapiens is supposedly 6 million years, 6 or 7 million years. We're always going to be evolving. Change. Every moment we're breathing, it's a change. Every moment our heart is pumping, it's a change. Every moment that you're here, you're a little bit older, it's a change. So everything is always changing, and it's not just outside of your nose, it's everywhere in the universe.
Pantha ray, like Heraclitus, the pre-Socratic Pantha ray, all this flux, all flows.
Yeah.
No man steps in the same river twice. But I have a question for you. Like, what's true of animals that you think makes it okay to buy meat every once in a while? But what is true of them?
You know what? I don't even know the answer to that. I mean, right now.
So the specific. I finally finished my question
a little while ago.
So the specific question is this: like, what's true of them that, if it was true of us, would make it okay to stab humans for meat?
It's an interesting question. For me, no, there's no question. I wouldn't do it. I think that the consumption of all of these meat products is, in a sense, archaic. And I think that we should, as we continue to evolve, look for alternatives for sources of protein and things like that. I think in the long run we want to get away from that. As far as eating fellow human beings, it's a mistake. No.
But if we were like presumably if we were in a really fucked up society where we were already doing this to humans and you were here, you would personally stop giving your money to that industry, human sandwich industry, or would you do it because you're in that society, you're part of it, or would you personally stop supporting it economically?
I don't think I would want to be in that society. I think I would go somewhere else. I would move.
But if you have no escape, and the only options would be to give your money to that industry or go vegan, what would you choose?
Well, I wouldn't give it to them, that's all.
So by going vegan. Let's say the only two options was human sandwiches and meat or vegan. You would go vegan in that situation?
No question. Yeah,
so,
no question.
Do you think there is like a morally significant difference between us and the animals that you eat that justifies doing that to them, but not to us?
I don't think it's a good idea. I think that we're...
So you would agree that vegan is the right way to live, and by vegan, I mean extending rights to animals.
I think that everyone's got to make their own choice at this point in time. I think that if we consumed less of the meat products where we are, growing animals as a meat product, I don't know. I don't find I'm not comfortable with it. I had meat empanadas today. I had bacon today. So, I eat eggs. I enjoy milk. I like butter. It's all levels of being a vegetarian and being a vegan. I just think that mankind, with an ecological sense today of how we're treating our planet, how we're treating each other, how we're treating other animals. Do I think animals think? Yeah. Why does an animal protect its young if it doesn't love its young and want to take care of it, right? They love their children. Why do animals come to the aid of another animal in their grouping? Within the context of a pride of lions or a bunch of river otters or whatever, or wolves or whatever. Or orcas, or dolphins, or humans.
We're all sentient, right? We want to live, we suffer, we experience well-being. So the question is like, why yourself, because I'm speaking to you, I know everybody does, consumes animal products, but you yourself, why do you think it is morally acceptable to pay for animal products, the products of sentient beings, which entail, exploiting them, instead of like picking up a non-sentient being like a plant or something?
In the electromagnetic spectrum, which is what we sense, we hear energy, right? We see energy, we are energy. Mankind understands. If you took a piece of wood 20 feet long and set it on the ground, and you took one hair out of your head, and you laid that hair down on the piece of wood, that little hair represents what mankind can understand and comprehend. There's so much more that we don't know than we do. We almost know nothing, okay? So when you say that a plant is not a sentient being, then I think there's degrees. I think all life has some sensibility. It has energy in it. I don't have enough knowledge to understand totally what's going on. It's beyond my limitations, I suspect.
Yeah, and there's that problem of other minds. We can't. You're right. We can't know for sure, but like the current scientific consensus, like what it says is that sentience seems to be an emergent property of central nervous systems, of brains. Like the mind is a creation of a brain.
But you know what? I'll tell you the truth. It's a funny thing you said that, because I think there's different kinds of energy bodies. And even in the human body, I think there's an energy center in your stomach, and supposedly in different places as well. And there's not a brain, so to speak, but there's an energy concentration point. So, I mean, who's to say that in the base of the roots of a tree there's not intelligence, or in the roots of a plant?
There is intelligence. Scientifically, intelligence means a capacity to react to stimuli, like computers, calculators, artificial intelligence. All that is intelligent. But what they don't seem to share is a capacity for subjective experiences. It is a mind, being able to suffer.
You're very wise. And I think that you have to pick and choose. I mean, we are human beings, and we are on this planet, and we do have different choices of things that we consume to sustain our bodies. So
I ask you a question about this. I ask you, if you had two choices right now, and you have to eat, you are a little hungry, you have two choices: grabbing an apple and eating it, or stabbing a dog in the neck and eating the dog. Which would you pick personally?
I think I'd love the delicious apple.
Delicious apple, right? It's intrinsically delicious. We don't have no like instinct to kill and eat the dog, right?
No.
But why pay for animal exploitation in your daily basis? Then when you do have that option every day you have, when you're buying food and stuff, you have the option to pay for animal exploitation and slaughter, or choose that, like which equivalent to the apple, basically.
I think education. I think we need to change our habits.
So you agree that this is a habit that needs to be changed, the habit of exploiting animals?
Yes, I do.
So you agree with the proposition of this debate? My proposition is that being vegan as an applied ethic, is morally obligatory. Like it is bad not to be vegan. In other words, what do you think about that? It is a bad thing to not be vegan. In the same way that it would be a bad thing to stab my friend in the neck or something.
I think that you have to be wise about all these things, and it's not that you're going to change several generations of mankind because we've come to a point where we realize that the other species on our planet also have, or a lot of species have mental capabilities. I think that it's going to take time. Do I think that it would be great if we did education more and we help people make their own decisions that they should eat less meat? Absolutely. It would be good, I think, for the human beings. It would certainly be good for the animals, and it would be good for the climate change in the sense of the methane that, or the amount of grains.
A bunch of benefits. There's personal health benefits. It helps prevent pandemics and stuff like that. But the most important thing to me is to not exploit innocent sentient beings. But because I'm just trying to explore your attitudes about this, because you did say that if you were in a society where they were eating humans and you had an option to not do that, you would not do that. But would it be a bad thing to do it in that society? Well, those alternatives were widely available. You can just walk into a Pueblo supermarket here and grab a human sandwich. Would it be bad to do that? Or would it be morally neutral or whatever?
Well, you have to understand that I'm from the 21st century now in this civilization. So for me, yeah, it's being a cannibal. If you were in the Andes and you had a plane crash, what they had in the last 30 or 40 years, and some of the people, rather than starve to death, ate human flesh, I think there's exceptions,
There is, and I agree with that. I have no problem with eating roadkill or something like that. My problem is stabbing innocent beings that are alive.
Yeah. It's a bad thing. It's bad business.
Yes. But do you agree then? Because in that hypothetical society, you wouldn't give your money under any circumstance to a human sandwiches. But you right now, you are giving money to animal sandwiches. So what I'm failing to understand is what's so different between us and those animals that justifies you to continue to do it.
Thousands of years of culture.
But you do agree that not because something is a cultural practice, it is good, right? It doesn't mean it's good, right?
It doesn't mean it's good.
And we should question cruel traditions and change them, right?
We should always be questioning what we do. I 100%. Absolutely, we should be questioning it. Yeah.
Like human slavery as a cultural practice doesn't make it okay, stuff like that, right? So yeah, I guess because you do seem to have vegan values. It seems like it. You weren't able to point out a substantial difference between us and animals that justifies doing that to them. You seem to have values in favor of extending rights to those beings as well. So yeah, so I guess my question is next time you're out shopping, would you continue to pay for animal exploitation, or would you choose compassion, which means the vegan option?
I'm going to continue buying animal products, but I consume not that much. I enjoy yogurt. I enjoy eggs. Eggs is kind of an animal product, but it's kind of in between. But I'm open to debate on it. I enjoy milk products, as I said.
Do you think taste pleasure justifies oppressing others?
Say that again?
Do you think taste pleasure justifies exploiting others or oppressing others?
Say that again. I don't understand.
Taste pleasure?
What's this word?
Liking something. When you eat something and you like it.
Pleasure.
Taste, sensory pleasure, taste pleasure, yes. Do you think liking something justifies taking the life away from someone else or something like that?
No.
But you agree that's what you're doing when you say I like bacon, so I'm gonna continue buying bacon, right?
I think that if you have the kind of thinking that you and I are discussing, I think the question comes down to, do you want to be honest to yourself? How do you want to? Do you want to say one thing and do something else? And I think that you need to compromise. I compromise. I eat less meat products because of the conversation that we're having now and the conversation I've had with myself in the past. If you believe in these things as we're discussing them, then you should reduce your consumption. If everyone on Earth reduced their consumption of meat products by...
I think we should
It'd
go
be
vegan
good
overnight. Personally, I think that.
Say that again?
I think we should go vegan overnight. We should go vegan, but I understand that no, this is happening, I'm happy that you're honest. And even me, I wasn't vegan overnight.
Right.
It did take a little bit of time to do it, but I do think the morally correct choice is to go vegan overnight. Do you personally agree, after this conversation and reflecting on your values, do you agree that, okay, perhaps you're going to continue doing it because it's a strong habit?
Let me say this to you. You know, the zeal that you have, the enthusiasm that you have, you know, for the veganism is a great thing. At the same token, compromise is important, because when you're saying you want to do it overnight, you're talking about probably tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that you all of a sudden are saying to them, you don't have a job anymore, you don't have a livelihood. We're closing all the slaughterhouses, we're doing all this different stuff, all the
Can I
marketing.
use something to test your logic on that? Let's say we were going to abolish slavery overnight. Are you going to be sad about the slave owners?
It's a nice point. I appreciate that point.
Or are you going to
the
say, whatever,
slavery-
let them lose their job?
the slavery issue is a little different, because I'm a human being, and they're human beings, and it may just be psychologically. Again, it's a cultural thing. Do I think that should have been eradicated overnight? Yeah, I do.
And you do agree there's no morally significant difference between us and animals. It seems to
that
follow
we
logically as well.
Because we're taking advantage of human beings. I mean, again, this is this fallacy that people that were enslaved were not human, that they were subhuman. You know,
But
it's ridiculous.
let's say hypothetically they weren't human. Let's say hypothetically speaking, let's say they looked like us, but you know, they were Neanderthals. Let's say Neanderthals were still around.
They are human. You're gonna have a problem. You know,
But let's say we found a species that like wasn't human but was sapient to our degree, a reptilian species, whatever you want to put it.
Choice already. You're saying they're human-like. I think we have enough choices of one wants to consume meat that we don't need to.
What do you mean by human-like? Because they
I don't
wouldn't
know.
be human.
You're making it up hypothetically. You're saying something that's got different DNA, but I'm assuming it's like human. But again, I don't know why you utilize, you know, this kind of a thought process to have a discussion, because
Yeah, I can answer that.
it's just fantasy.
The reason is because the reason is this. No, specifically, I can tell you my reasoning here. My reason is just right now is to explore the logical entailments of your view as it is right now. And that is one of the logical entailments, that if a situation like that existed, you would morally approve of it because they wouldn't be human. They would be another species. You said that what makes it bad is that you're against cannibalism or you're against oppressing human beings, but in that situation, they wouldn't be human.
I'm against oppressing anything that's thinking. And certainly any animal that's thinking and rears its young and cares for their young or loves their young. Yeah, I'm against raising them on commercial big farms, caged.
What about just giving it a good life and then stabbing the being or putting it in a gas chamber to turn it into a sandwich? It would also be wrong to violate its right to life.
You're not making sense, because if someone feels the way they do, as I do, they don't want to stab the animals at all. They don't want to put them in the gas chamber. I mean, you can be insightful.
Yeah, but the problem is that you do pay for this with your food choices. So I guess like you do agree now that it is not morally justifiable. You agree that there's a degree of hypocrisy there between your values and your actions, yes?
Absolutely. There is a degree of hypocrisy. And I think that you do the best that you can to minimize it. And if you can make those changes, And if you're open-minded to those changes, I think that it should be in the school systems, that we should educate children better about animals and how they're grown, animal husbandry. I think that we should be aware of a society that we are more harmonious with the world that we live in. And I think that's towards having more plant-based foods. So
Or lab-grown meats, stuff like
your
that.
direction, you have a good direction, but again, I don't think it's something that you want to try to do overnight. I think that you have to realize
It's not gonna happen overnight. It's not.
Yeah, you have to take time.
We try our best, but it's not gonna happen overnight. If I
No.
have the power to and make it happen overnight, I would.
Boom.
Yeah.
And that would be a good
I don't.
thing.
I don't. I don't
have
care.
a problem
I
with
don't
that.
care if the slave owners
I
lose
don't
their
have-
job.
I don't have a problem with that.
But yeah, I'm
We
glad.
would find something else. We would find something else that people can do. But I think again that if you mandate it to be over a generation or 10 years or 5 years or some appropriate amount of time, it would be more harmonious for mankind. At the same token, it's not helping the animal kind that are being consumed. So, I mean, I'm up in the air. I'm certainly open to discussion, to be fair-minded and open-minded about it.
I'm glad you were very honest, and you said that you admitted there's a degree of hypocrisy. There people don't like admitting stuff like that. I'm glad you were honest, and I think it is gonna happen. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna happen sooner rather than later. I think technologies like
agree.
lab meat technologies, lab-grown meat technologies
yeah.
are gonna make animal products obsolete. At least
What
animal
about
agriculture.
insects? What about, do you want to eat some of those, the fly larvae?
Depends if they're sentient. I give them the precautionary principle. I think they might be sentient, so I don't touch insects unless they're harming me. Like I will kill a mosquito.
I understand. No, I'm just joking with you. I wouldn't. I don't want it either. That's a possibility, but I think there's a lot of things that we can consume today that we have the knowledge of the different sources of proteins and the different things that can keep us healthy. That we have a lot more variety than we have always thought, and I think that we can all be vegans.
We can all be vegan, yeah.
And live healthily. So I agree with what you're saying.
That is true.
I think it's a good direction, and I agree with
And
you.
you agree
I
it's
think
a better world.
direction
You
we're
agree.
going.
You agree if we have two choices, world A or world B, a world in which we could perpetually keep doing this to animals, holocausting them for the rest of eternity, or a world in which we abolish that and created a compassion.
Be part of the abolish. Yeah, no question.
But I think it starts with our individual choices because these companies are still running their businesses because we give their money to them, right? In part.
I don't
right?
care about the money making.
That's what they care about.
I don't. Well, yeah. And they don't want other people telling them what to do. And they have habits. They're habitualized with eating meat since they were children. They think about having barbecues with their parents and their grandparents and the whole thing for generations. For hundreds of years, people have been doing these different businesses. So. You need to accommodate a lot of things, but I think in the next probably 100 or 200 years, I think you're going to see more and more people being vegan or vegetarian. It's just, I think it's a natural evolution.
I think veganism is the way to go. Vegetarianism is just a diet, while veganism is a moral philosophy. Like vegetarians still consume dairy, eggs. I think that's exploitative. Like what happens in the dairy. I don't know if you've seen the standard practices of what happens in the dairy industry, the egg industry. For example, the males are useless to the industry. In the egg industry, they throw the males to get blended alive on the first day, and the veals are useless in the meat industry. They get killed. They get killed for. The calves get killed for meat, veal. The females are exploited for dairy and eggs. So it's crazy. It's horrific.
This all needs to be looked at.
Yeah, I would recommend you watch a documentary that shows the standard practices through hidden camera recordings by activists. It's called Dominion. You can find it for free on YouTube, man.
I've seen some of them, slaughterhouses and stuff like that.
It's horrific. Like,
it's bad. It's
we
bad
have a choice right now to not give our money to that, right? So why keep giving our money to that? And I think you have the vegan
I'm
values.
pretty good. I'm pretty good. I eat meat a couple of times a week, so it's not like.
But you wouldn't rape a couple times a week, or think about any other moral issue. You wouldn't like kill innocent kids every once
times a
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, again, it's
You should
habit.
be consistent.
It's something that's condoned by society. You know, there's a lot of different aspects or facets of these issues, and you need to address them all. I think that you're in the right direction, and I think with compromise, and I think just with evolution, you know, we're evolving. Everything is changing, as we said a little while ago. And you're going to see more and more of this. People are waking up. You know, the Aquarian age has been already in process for a couple thousand years or 10,000 years, ever since man started to come together in communities and things like this. But this is also the time where people began animal husbandry and growing sheep and goats in the countries, or horses. So, you know, I mean, knowledge. We're learning what we can do.
I agree with you. It's gonna be a whole process to turn whole humanity into vegan. But you already agree a vegan future is the way to go. So why you personally not be on the right side of history? Like you still have, you seem like a young, a healthy person, right?
Young. Go ahead and say it.
I was gonna say healthy, but yeah, healthy person. You
74 years young.
You have some more years in this planet, right? Why not be
so.
Why not be on the right side of history? By being vegan. Why be a relic of the past, my friend? Why be a relic of the past?
Two reasons. Well, first of all, I'm not so much a relic as I'm traveling in a time capsule now.
But if you're carnist, the thing is, if you're carnist, you're practicing something barbaric, something archaic. Why not be on the right side of history?
But I am already.
What do you mean by that? In your values, right? In your values, but not in your actions.
Values, but as I've said to you, you know, a number of times, is that I don't consume a lot of meat, and I'm.
But the future is completely vegan. The future is not that we're gonna exploit animals every once in a while, right?
But I didn't say that I was going to be vegan overnight. If I was to be with people that were vegetarians or vegans, I'm sure that I would be very happy in that situation. So, you know, we'll see how time evolves. You know, I'm learning about it.
But in the meantime, while you're still alive, you would be comfortable like paying for animal abuse and cruelty and exploitation. Well,
if you want to put it that way, yeah, I guess I am.
But you put it that way as well.
No,
right?
I understand. I appreciate what you're saying.
I'm not using buzzwords. I think that is accurate language. Is to like bring these beings into existence, but through artificial insemination. We're murdering the males. We're like stabbing these animals on the neck to turn them into sandwiches. We're putting them into gas chambers. Like it is abusive, right? And there's innocent beings. They're children, right? They're innocent.
Absolutely. That's why we've been in agreement all along. I agree.
And it's just a matter of aligning actions with your values. Right now, it is between your. There's the debate concluded, but it actually now between you and your conscience. Are you gonna be on the right side of history or not? Yeah.
I'm gonna be on the wrong side a little longer.
And I think you're being really
I'm
honest.
I'm become a vegan as of this moment now. All right,
but
not happening.
Are you gonna do it eventually?
I don't know. I would hope so.
Or it's gonna take until you're in the grave for you to be vegan.
Oh, I hope. I would like to be a vegan.
Oh yeah, man. I hope it is sooner rather than later. And
Thank you.
How many more animals you want to be
killing?
No, in your name, how many animals you want to be tortured and killed in your name specifically? 0 or more to 0?
22 and a half.
Yeah, but you do hear yourself doing that, and it is.
No. It's a terrible
because
thing.
you know it's terrible, right?
We're making a joke about it, but
it is terrible.
But we've already gone through this discussion.
It is over, yeah.
You know.
But anyway, thanks for your time. It was
my pleasure.
appreciated, man.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You have a nice day, and keep up your good work.
Thank you, my
Are you
friend.
doing this as a project?
I just do activism on my free time. I have a
good.
YouTube channel.
Good for you.
Yeah, man. But thank you anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Give it some thought.